from MMA Fighting Studios, this is Between the Links. And now, your host, Mike Heck.
The iconic voice of Esther Lynn welcomes you to a brand new edition of BTL. Happy Thursday to us all. Hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Obviously, Thanksgiving was a very big day for the MMA community in a number of ways. We finally found out what the first few title fights will be for the UFC on Paramount era, kicking off in January. The emotions have been running high since then, so we'll obviously discuss that. And we got UFC 323 coming up on Saturday, a really good card. Main event, Merab Dvalishvili versus Petr Yan 2. We got Alexandre Pantoja defending the Flyweight title against Joshua Van. We have the final fight of Henry Cejudo's career against Peyton Talbot. That and much more. I'm actually really excited for this event. Really excited for the last UFC watch party of 2025, which I will be a part of. And joining me on the show, and will also be joining me on the watch party this Saturday for UFC 323. He is Mr. No Gray Area, the hot take kid himself, and an absolute gamer because, well, let's let Jed explain. Jed, how are we feeling on this Thursday? And of course, welcome back to BTL.
Today, I'm the hot tea kid. I've got some herbal tea with, I don't know if there's such a thing as too much honey, but I am testing the boundaries of how much honey a man can consume in a 24-hour period. A little bit of a cold has come on. I blame Jose Young's entirely, frankly. It's his fault. I went out and had a few beverages with him on Sunday night, and it was cold, and I think that he's the cause of all my pains. But hurt, not injured. We're here to talk about a very good card, as you see. 2 stars. I honestly strongly debated giving this 3. I think you can't call this a 3 Michelin star card because of the lack of like big star power. And we'll talk about it, Mike. I've gotten some pushback that this is a good card. Some even, people who come to a MMA Fighting Card website, they're generally considered hardcore fans, right? Like this is this is our community. Some people aren't very into this. I think those people are wrong. I love this card. I love what we're going to get to watch on Saturday.
Well, I mean, look, if you're throwing this out there and people are questioning it, show your work, Jed. Why is this a 2-star card in your eyes?
I've said on multiple programs at this point, I think they've nailed it as far as I think this is a really good bit of promotional work here because it is very hard to thread the needle of not totally punting on your final obligations. It's like when you get a new job, right? Like you put in your 2 weeks notice at the new job. Everybody knows that you're not there and you're not taking on new projects, right? Like you're done in 2 weeks. That's where the UFC's at. But it's a difference between whether you totally mail it in, you're like, here's my 2 weeks notice and I'm going to use 2 weeks vacation, or it's 2 weeks notice, but don't come by my desk and put anything on it. I'm just picking up a paycheck for 2 weeks until I move on. You don't really want to be that guy, but you're not going to give it your best effort because you got to save your energy for the new thing. They're not going to give us their best card at the end of the ESPN era because they want to, kick things off with a bang, which they certainly are doing. We talked about that already, in our spun up reaction pod or whatever, Mike. But they've done very well at producing a card that I think is meritorious, right? Like you've got 2 title fights and 2 meaningful ones. Now the main event is a rematch of a fight that wasn't very competitive. Maybe it'll be more competitive this time. I'm sure we can get into that, but it's certainly a real fight. Like this isn't Diego Lopes getting another crack at Alexander Volkanovski. Like Petr Yan has won 3 in a row since then. Like he deserves his opportunity. And on top of that, Merab's making history. Like even fighting this fight is making history. He'll be the first champion to fight 4 times, or first person to have 4 title fights in 1 calendar year. Obviously, if he wins, he pretty much locks up fighter of the year. He does something that's never been done before. Like this is historically significant. And everybody watching this right now knows that I don't even care for Merab Dvalishvili, but I would never argue that Saturday is not a meaningful, significant thing, even if I might end up finding it boring. Co-main event's awesome. Josh Van making his case for fighter of the year. Pantoja, the most underappreciated champion in the sport. That fight just going to probably be a heater because when has Pantoja been in a boring fight? Moreno Tyra is awesome. The last dance of Henry Cejudo in a very weird, interesting fight. Guskov Blachowicz. All of these fights are meaningful. Now, if you want to say that this might not be the most fun, I'm open to that argument. But a lot of stakes at play on Saturday, a lot of good fights, good matchups, and the undercard is solid. Like, I think everybody on this card has a Wikipedia page, or like 90% of people. Like, these are known quantities we're getting on Saturday, and I think top to bottom, it's a really strong card.
I think it's really good. Like, I'm not gonna say it's an excellent card, but it's a very, very good card. And even so, like the first three fights are like the opening. The Naimov Myron Santos fight is interesting. It's two guys that nobody really knows, but are two guys that are pretty good and are on good runs right now.
It's actually it's a quality fight.
Yeah, we know what Mansour Abdul Malik Antonio Tricoli is.
That's a murder.
Yeah, it is a let's get this guy over fight. It should be a squash match against a veteran who, is not trying, but obviously his poker career is sort of taking center stage right now. He's making a ton of money doing it. So good on Antonio Tricoli. Ibo Azan, Iwo Baranowski. This is the UFC hoping that we just get two dudes chucking them and one guy falls quickly. But then
it's a fun gimmick. Ibo versus Iwo. Come on. Like, we can all appreciate that's fun.
It's for the pound signs and the hashtags. But the last 11 fights are all like really interesting. They all have some sort of storyline attached to them. Edson Barboza back to lightweight fighting Jalen Turner, who's back fighting after the shortest retirement of all time. Marvin Vettori needs a win badly, and he's fighting Bruno Ferreira. Fares Zayem versus Nazim Sadikov is awesome.
It's very good.
Might be my favorite fight on the entire card. I love that fight. Is no way that fight stinks. Macy Barber coming back against Karine Silva. Will she? I'll
believe that when when she's in the cage. Frankly, because we've literally seen her not make the walk.
Will she make weight? That's another question. That's another interesting story. Terrence McKinney, Chris Duncan rocks. No way that fight is bad. Grant Dawson, Manuel Torres could get a little silly, but two very good guys on the come up at 155 pounds. By the way, shout out to Grant Dawson. He was the star of Media Day yesterday. No one will know this, and no one will really watch it. But if you're looking for a guy,
no one's watching any of it. Look at the numbers on our vids from Media Day. I did last night. I was like, wow, that is bad.
Tough scenes. It's not a. This is the kind of card where you could skip all the fight week activities for this one. Just show up on Friday, weigh in, and then show up on Saturday. That's all you need for this one. Those who are going to watch it are all watching it. Nothing is going to happen this week that is going to bring in an extra pay-per-view buyer. Not one thing.
You know what? This card's awesome, Mike. I said a lot of it, and then I realized in the middle of it, there's actually a way shorter way to say it. This card rocks because there are 4 lightweight fights, 2 bantamweight fights, and 2 flyweight fights.
Yeah.
Of the 11 meaningful fights, none of them are more than 135 pounds. There are no heavyweights. It's a banger. That's just it. Honestly, I think we don't talk about that enough. If you just booked cards with people that weighed less than 185 pounds, more often than not, it's going to be heaters. And that's looking at it. It's there are 4 lightweight fights on this. When 8 lightweights are competing, your night can only be so bad because they're all going to rock.
Yes, I am looking forward to this card. No one's going to watch it, but those who do are going to have a really good time, I think. So, all right, let's go to the questions. That's what this is all about. And obviously, super chatters go to the top.
Give us your questions,
top
people.
Of the line. So let's get after it. Bobby, do we see Cejudo versus Moreno in 2026? So Henry Cejudo started off the week, Jed, by doing a little scrum on Tuesday night, let loose on Dana White, the Nevada Athletic Commission, and many others about eye pokes, and then said, no, this is my last fight. The only person I'll come back for is Brandon Moreno. He does not like Brandon Moreno, at least that was the thing. Brandon Moreno is asked about this at Media Day yesterday, and he's like, I don't understand why he's so mad. I don't have beef with him. If I sit next to him at the press conference, I'm going to go shake his hand and wish him all the best because that's what Brandon Moreno does. And then Cejudo goes up at media day not long after. Jose Young tells Cejudo what Moreno said. He's like, yeah, he's probably right. And then Cejudo on the clip of that said that he dapped up Brandon Moreno like seconds after his media day ended. So it seems like the beef has been squashed, at least to some degree. Maybe things will pop off at the press conference, but yeah, I don't think that fight happens in 2026 or ever, Jed.
I forgot about it, honestly, because like the whole Cejudo's retiring. I was like, yeah, he's retiring. Maybe if he wins, like he'll get confused and think that he shouldn't. He should, frankly, even if he wins, like go out on top, so few people do that. But until he mentioned it, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that was a thing. And once that happens, I think it happens. So I actually think that this is likely. If he gets starched by Talbot, maybe not. But like, Cejudo didn't want to retire the first time. I don't think he wants to retire now. I think he's a bit caught in between of like, okay, well, I'm not good anymore. And he's not bad, but he's not good anymore. And I don't think he wants to be the guy who they just let build people off of, which feels like where he's relegated to. But I think he would be interested in doing, the super fight thing. There just aren't that many available in the weight classes he competes in, right? Like, because the big name guys are fighting for actual belts. Moreno being the kind of obvious exception to this. So I actually think it makes a lot of sense. Not like assuming Moreno beats Tyra. Moreno loses to Tyra, it makes all the sense in the world. Moreno beats Tyra, like theoretically he should fight for the belt. But if Van wins, they're going to do an immediate rematch. And if Pants wins, we don't like, do we really book Moreno Pants 4? Not totally opposed to it, but like you don't because Kyoji's right there. So then Moreno's like, what is he going to do? Sure, fight Henry Cejudo. So I think that fight sort of fits. And if he's bringing it up, that makes me believe that it's a real possibility, especially with sort of the place that both fighters exist in right now. Again, I just don't think Henry wants to retire. I think what he doesn't want to do is be Andrei Arlovsky. Henry Cejudo is not willing to just be a professional fighter, which is kind of where his career is at right now. And I don't blame him. Like that's just a personal choice. There's nothing wrong with not wanting to be that guy. But if he can still be in big fights and not just fights, I think he wants to stick around, and that would feel like a big fight. So I'll say it happens. Yeah.
I say no chance. I think this is Cejudo's last fight by far. I think Cejudo said it best at media day. He was basically asked like, look, you retired before. We hear this all the time. They say it's the last fight. Then maybe you go ahead and lose to Talbot and you're like, oh, I want to go out on a win. And Cejudo, I think, just kind of nailed it. He goes, nah, man, I think Dana would cut me after anyways. And he's probably right. I think the UFC is done with Henry Cejudo. I think they were done with him when he retired the first time. He left.
It's still one of the funniest things that's ever happened in the sport.
It's the worst retirement in sports history. And he was asked about this at BD Day as well. He's like, yeah, I have no regrets. Like, blah, 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 blah. He goes, you want to retire on top. And I get that. But you should have just kept going with it because it was truly bad. Like, you were on the cusp of going somewhere and really getting to that upper echelon. Like, you were probably like another 2 wins away from being a star. And then you left and you thought the UFC was just going to cave. And they were just like, nah, Petr Yan's going to go ahead and fight for your belt now. And that's it. Bye-bye. Have a great trip home from Jacksonville. And thank you for your contributions. We're out of here. We're totally fine. And then he came back to a title fight and in a weird world where the judge knew how to score a 5th round. Henry Cejudo would be the bantamweight champion right now. It's crazy to think about. And then he wins a round against Merab and then gets Merabbed. And then the Song Yadong thing happens. So it's like, it's not like he's gotten the doors blown off him since he's come back. But
I mean, he was getting worked up by Song, but
yeah, he was losing that fight. But
yeah. I wrote about Cejudo today. He's the lead from the mailbag that goes up this afternoon. He's had a very weird career. It's objectively not a bad career, right? Like he's 2 champ. And you add in the Olympics. Like he's objectively had a very good career. I think his career is going to age incredibly poorly. And that's mostly his fault, frankly. And so like it's one of those weird things where like he tried really hard to brand himself as the greatest combat sports athlete of all time. That's not like remotely true. It wasn't at the time, and it's only going to look like worse and worse as time goes on, because like, I mean, I've just been a fan of this sport for long enough to see how people with much better resumes are forgotten. Cejudo, like, he is going to be buried to the sands of time very quickly, and it's a tough scene for him. And I know why he did it. I think the retirement was a really dumb idea. And it's just like, it's aged so poorly for him, because like, he might not be wrong. Like, the UFC might be done with him. Dana was done with him instantly. I've literally never seen ever in the history of the sport, I've never seen a fighter be like, I'm going to retire, and Dana not be like just the difference between when Khabib was going to retire because his dad died, and Dana was like, he's not retiring. And when Henry did it, it literally in the post-fight press conference, Dana was like, cool, Petr Yan will fight next month for the vacant belt. Like, they didn't give him a day to be like retiring on top, in part because of how it all went down, because he fought Dominic fucking Cruz for his title defense. Like, I know we've been talking lately about the worst title shots ever handed out. That's the worst title shot ever. I forgot how bad that was. Dominic Cruz fighting Henry Cejudo is the worst title shot ever given. And so, like, maybe that's also why he's been a little more vocal this month about his issues with eye pokes and etc. It does feel like these two parties are at a natural conclusion, but I don't know. Moreno Cejudo's good enough business. They need something to headline Noche. Why not?
Don't think it happens. I think everyone's kind of done here, but we'll see. We'll see. Talbot just might go out there and win, and then it won't matter. So, Chase, want to push back on the notion that Kayla versus Amanda?
Hold on. We have the it factor just said, huh? That was like 6 years ago. Dom was still active and considered dangerous. What? Buddy, that is actually the most incorrect statement that's ever been commented on a comment.
Oh, no.
You know
you
how
have time
I
to
know
delete it. You have time to delete it. Delete it
buddy,
right now.
You better walk that one back. Dom wasn't considered dangerous, and he damn sure wasn't considered active. Dom hadn't fought in 4 years when he got that title fight. He had not competed. His last fight was before the Cejudo fight was a loss to freaking Cody Garbrandt 4 years prior. He wasn't active. He wasn't dangerous. If that was a troll bit, you got me. Holy shit. Oh, that one I had to.
Wow. Yeah, that's tough. That's a tough look.
This isn't even me being hyperbolic, DJ. Like, this was the worst. Like, he had not fought in 4 years, and his last fight was a loss to Cody Garbrandt. Like, it is the worst title fight ever given.
We should probably put the accountability hand up. Just throw that out there. Throw the right hand up. Say, my bad. Should have looked at topology or something. Chase, want to push back on the notion that Kayla versus Amanda should be the main event of UFC 324. The fan base damn near rioted on Twitter at the rumor it might be. It's not it might be. It is. They literally said Gaethje Pimblett is the main event. Kayla Amanda is the co-main event. The actual title fight is the co-main event to the fake title fight. P.S. I think we're headed towards Tom being stripped for injury. All right. I don't think there's really much more to say about the Kayla Amanda thing that hasn't already been said. This should be the main event. It's the bigger fight, frankly.
I disagree.
With what?
I think it's fine as the co-main. I've come around to it. Like,
come around.
Like, from a merit standpoint, very obviously it's silly, but like, I don't believe in letting the promotion just do nonsense, right? Like, there should be order to the universe, right? Like, but that extends to what fight should be made. As far as card placement goes, I'm fine with it, because like, and I genuinely believe the reason they are doing it is Amanda Kayla might suck. That fight might be boring. Justin Gaethje won't be boring. You know he won't. So put him as the last guy to go out, because the vibes fans have from any event are all it does. If the entire event rocks and the main event sucks, you end on a bad note. It's the last taste in your mouth. Justin Gaethje being the last guy to walk, you're guaranteed for your first big event in this new broadcast deal. for people to go home at least feeling okay, I'm fine with it. It's totally okay. From a promotional standpoint, this is where I'm happy to give you leeway in card placement order. I'm happy to give you some leeway in circumstances like this. Go with the guaranteed excitement.
I don't hate that. I just think, I don't know. It's a big deal. It's a big fight. It matters. Man is coming back, the greatest of all time. Like,
I have a bigger issue with Dana speaking out of both sides of his mouth. Because, like, if you just booked it and then shut the fuck up, I think it'd be fine. But saying this is the greatest women's fight of all time and then putting it beneath an interim fight, that sounds stupid. But again, like, at the baseline of end the night on your best note, like, it's Costanza. Leave him wanting more. You gotta that's what you do with Gaethje. So I get it, and I'm fine with it.
He should have never went on Instagram after the Super Bowl announcement or the halftime announcement, because that ruined everything. It was just like, it's a hat on a hat going on Instagram and doing all that stuff. Like, you just do it all at once. I didn't get that. I
think the answer is probably a time slot thing. Like, because he announced like 12 fights or whatever. That's just a lot. And CBS didn't want this to be here's for UFC fans. It was hey, this is the biggest game of the year. Like, the viewership, I mean, it's the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. The viewership was out of its mind.
Against the Chiefs too.
Yeah, it's like it was. So I was trying to look it up before the show because somebody put the numbers out. It was outrageous. And like, that's the UFC getting to go thing. And so I get that in general, like, hey, here are the bullet points. Watch the UFC on Paramount Plus in January. You don't need to dive too deep into it, but it definitely was like then a little weird for him to talk a little bit more about it to us afterwards.
Yeah. Do you feel like Jay says, I think we're headed towards Tom Aspinall being stripped for injury?
I mean, it's possible. I'm going to say no, but man, it's in there.
Yeah, I know you guys are gonna. I know what you're thinking right now. Heck's gonna say the thing he always says: Derek Lewis versus Waldo Cortez Acosta. The winner of that fight might be fighting Cyril Gane for the interim title.
I mean, it's totally possible. The UFC seems to hate him now, which is, I mean, I kind of get, but also very silly. Man, I got to tell you, Dana White just consistently beefing with his heavyweight champion is a wild thing, but that's just sort of par for the course now. So,
yep. AZ Ray Videos, thank you. Happy birthday to Bill Superfoot Wallace. December 1st, 2025, this past Monday. Any thoughts to his contribution to MMA, karate, and kickboxing? A lot of people have adopted his style in MMA. Wonderboy, MVP, Machida, Cejudo, Pitbull Brothers, etc. Shout out to Superfoot, Jed.
Shout out to Superfoot. I haven't thought of Bill Superfoot Wallace in probably a decade.
Leave it to Easy Ray Videos to come through. So, God, yeah, it's the Superfoot system. I remember. I remember the commercials for that back in the day.
I mean, I genuinely have not thought about Bill Superfoot Wallace I'm trying to think, like, a lifetime. It's probably like talking to Jordan Breen about some shit or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly, like, he certainly contributed something because, like,
it was part of the early broadcast.
Yeah, it's part of the early broadcast stuff. Like, he's never gonna, like, be a Hall of Famer or anything like that. Just part of the rich tapestry of this sport.
Yeah. So shout out to you, Easy Ray. That's a name that we haven't heard in quite some time. So, but happy birthday. How old is he now?
I don't know.
79.
Damn.
Happy 79th.
He is still alive, correct?
He sure is.
Terrific. We love that for Superfoot.
Yep.
Man, I miss the old broadcast where it was just like a whole bunch of weirdos.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, what else we got here? Let's go through now that we don't have the super chats. This is big news yesterday. It came out yesterday that UFC 324 has a change already. Natty Ice will fight Rose Namajunas. Thoughts on Natty Ice stepping up for Alexa Grasso? Is she risking her title shot? I mean, I think it's pretty obvious, like, just on its face, yes, she is risking her title shot because fighting anybody is risking it on paper. But is she really risking it taking this fight, Jed?
I mean, I don't know. You know more about the behind the scenes stuff, and so I'll defer to you on that. But my interpretation of this is that she would be risking her title fight by not taking this fight, because it seems that Shevchenko is not going to defend early next year, right? Like, whether that means they're just going to hold out and see what happens between Kayla and Amanda, and if Shevchenko is going to fight that, like, maybe that's what they're waiting for. I don't know. Maybe Shevchenko has just been like, yeah, I'm not going to fight until the spring. Could be either of those things. But either way, I mean, Natty Ice deserved the title fight. I'm not here to argue that point. I don't know why anyone would use the word deserve anymore when Diego Lopes is getting a title fight. When Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett are fighting for an interim belt. Deserve, in the words of William Money, ain't got nothing to do with it. And Rose getting another win would have in general just opened up the opportunity for the UFC to burn Natty Ice, right? Like, if Rose gets this dub at 324 before Natalia Silva, it's like, okay, that's the fight we've been trying to make for a while. Maybe they just do it because they don't care. They do not. There is no semblance of meritocracy. They don't give a shit. And we don't functionally either, because no one's stopping watching because the rightful contenders are getting passed over. And so my, cynical view of this is like, hey, will you step in to fight Rose? Because if you don't, and Rose wins, you might just not be fighting Valentina next anyway. So she has to take this fight. And I think she can win this fight. I think it's a good fight to get her over. If she beats Rose, there shouldn't be a question anyway, but there's really no question. So, like, she's risking it, but she also may have been risking it if she had passed up this opportunity.
Yeah, well, I mean, perfectly well said. Lexa has an injury. Apparently it was pretty bad. Like, it's not like a torn ACL or anything, but for what I'm told, it was pretty rough. It was, you ain't fighting January 24th kind of an injury. So, prayers up for Alexa. Big opportunity for Natty Ice. I think she wins this fight pretty handily, but who knows? Maybe we get A+ Rose Namajunas who's on one. We've seen this many times where she shows up and just looks like the best fighter who's ever competed in the women's division. Like, she's had.
I do think this stylistically is a better fight for her. Like, this is a fight where Rose could have some success.
It'll be interesting. I think Natty Ice is vastly underrated in the grappling department, and I kind of think that's Rose's best chance is tackling her. But Natty's a very good defensive wrestler. She's actually pretty sneaky on the ground. I think it's a really tough fight for Rose unless she just clips her with something, because she's not going to have the speed advantage. She's certainly not going to have the strength and power advantage. It's could be a rough night for her, but who knows? We've said that about Rose fights in the past, and she comes through. So, thoughts on Josh Van at Media Day telling reporters that he believes Pantoja is the flyweight GOAT because he didn't start watching MMA until 2017. He doesn't remember DJ. I love that, by the way. I mean, it's obviously on its face a really silly argument, but Josh doesn't.
It's an honest one, at least.
He's just like, yeah, man, I started watching the UFC in 2017. I've never watched DJ fight. So, yeah, Pantoja's the guy. I made my debut when Pantoja was champion. So he's the best flyweight I've ever seen fight. So that was his reasoning behind it. And I thought it was very funny.
Yeah, like, I'm totally cool with it because I just think it's honest. It's a dumb opinion, obviously. Because, like, the world doesn't only exist in the things that like, that's just not a way to go through life with anything, right? Like, that's a real stupid way to exist as a person, of only the things that I know are real and everything else is nonsense. But it's at least way more honest, because, like, the truth is most people who are giving these takes that I shut down and think are idiotic are that they didn't watch MMA 5 years ago or whatever. And there's nothing wrong with that. But like, at least just be honest. Like, yeah, man, I became a fan in the last 5 years. That's why my opinions are that Conor's the greatest ever or whatever, like, so that's cool. You want to know a fun game I've been playing this week, Mike?
I would love to.
It's a great game. We played it a lot on No Bets Barred this week. I got to play it a little bit with the Morning Combat boys. You may know this off the top of your head, but let's just throw it out there. Do you know when Josh Van started his professional MMA career?
2020?
October of 2021.
2021.
He's been a professional for 4 years and a couple of months. Do you know the last time Henry Cejudo got a win?
Dominic Cruz.
That was May
2021.
That was May of 2020.
Oh, 2020. Yes. Jacksonville UFC 249. Yes.
In the entirety of Josh Van's career has taken place since the last time Cejudo won. Because Josh Van fights so often, he has 17 fights in a 4-year career. Like, he has more fights than most people on this card on Saturday, despite being a professional for 4 years. You can play so many fun games of like, when was the last time Jan Blachowicz got a good win, right? Had Josh Van started MMA yet? And the answer is, sort of.
How many wins does Josh Van have over the last 4 years compared to Kamaru Usman?
Oh my God.
It's like 20 to 1.
Well, I think Van has 15 wins,
Or
I think is what
15 to 1.
Josh Van has. So 15 to 1 is the answer.
Wow.
It's a really fun game I've been playing. Well, when I told the MK boys on Monday, I was like, you guys realize he's been a professional for 4 years? They're like, are you kidding? It's like, no, October 2021. He became a professional after we decided COVID was over. Like, it is ludicrous the career he's had so far.
That's wild. Chase, who will get a title shot first? Arman Tsarukyan or Movsar Evloev?
Arman Tsarukyan, because they're going to cut Movsar.
What?
Honest to God, I think that they are, but they're not going to cut him. But like, if they weren't going to give him a title fight now, they're just never going to. So they're like, he's going to be one of those dudes that they just let go. Like, he fights out his contract and then they just buy. Like, they're going to hive him for sure. And I think it's incredibly stupid, but I think they're going to hive him.
I don't think that happens.
They just don't know how you don't give him this title fight right now. It makes no sense to me.
I don't even know what's going on with him, honestly.
No, I don't know if anyone does.
Yeah. Him, and I mean, at least we have a little bit of an update. I mean, we told you that Shavkat's planning late February, early March. So that's...
Yeah, the timeline is perfect for Islam Makhachev. Did you see the fan poll when we did the who deserves the next thing? I'm so proud of our readers, baby. I'm so proud of them.
By a lot.
Over 50%. I didn't think anyone was going to clear the 50% threshold. Yeah, baby. I love our readers.
I actually think the voting was spot on.
They nailed it. I think they nailed it. I was so proud of them.
Yeah. Did a good job. Everybody did a good job. Usman was 4th ahead of just Prachas, which is perfectly done. That's the only guy Usman somehow deserves a title shot over in this current conversation right now.
Yeah, but credit to Usman, who's like, I think Pratis, after me, Pratis is the most deserving, which is what a take from Kamaru Usman.
God, he is so bad at this.
It was so funny to watch him say that. And then Henry Cejudo, of all people, was like, he just lost to Ian Machado Gary. And Kamar's just like, it's fine. It's like, okay. He's like, yeah, but Ian sucks. It's like basically what he said.
Oh my God.
It rocked.
Someone is at my door, Jed. Take
you're
over
popular.
for a moment, please.
I will take over. Because I don't have the technology, I can't take over and put questions up. But let me see what we see. Can we please count Josh Van as a Burmese champ and an American champ? I mean, yeah, like he's from Myanmar, isn't he? So like, I don't know why he wouldn't get counted as those. I don't actually know what flag he walks out with. But like he would absolutely be the first champ for Myanmar, and he's an American citizen to the best I believe. So yeah, then we'd have 3 champs, 4 if you count Max Holloway. Boom, because we have Mackenzie Dern and Kayla Harrison as American champs right now. Oh, thoughts on Rousey Taylor? We got to get Mike back here at some point because that's important. But let's talk about Rousey Taylor when Mike comes back up because that's a good one. Enigma Master, Jed, how drunk is Luke after the podcast? No, nobody really gets drunk. I got a little buzz this time, more so than most, but that's usually just because I think that was because I'd been out the night before. But no, it's just a good time hanging with the MK boys. We like that. Can we talk more? Superfoot Wallace did pay $20. I don't know what else you want me to say about Superfoot Wallace is the thing. And we certainly appreciate that. But like, he was the commentator on, was it just UFC 1? Did he do the other early ones? I can't remember if he was beyond that. And like did martial arts movies and kickboxed, but I don't have much more to say there. Is there any females on this card? Theoretically, Macy Barber will be fighting on Saturday. I say theoretically because it's a Macy Barber thing. If he walks out with the Myanmar flag, dope. What was that, Mike?
What did I miss?
I was waiting for you to get back because somebody asked the most important question, and I didn't want to talk on it without you. You can go find it if you want to pull it up because I don't remember who it was. What are your thoughts on Ronda Rousey and Katie Taylor boxing each other? I think this is the best story of the week. I'm so happy about this story.
It's the weirdest thing I've ever heard. It's truly, I need to know like what the terms of this fight are before I like truly react to it. But if we're talking like this is a full on professional boxing match, this truly might be the worst decision of Ronda Rousey's career. Like she is going to get dummied like real bad. And it's like concerning to me how bad this could be for her.
Is she going to get paid though? That's because look, Jake Paul's going to die, but he's going to get paid to die. So I think this is.
But Jake's like young and has.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Lives. Like if he's a cat, he still has like 8 lives left. Ronda's in such a bad spot right now. Her damage bar is already in the red at this point. And she hasn't fought in a decade outside of the WWE stuff, and she's still on red.
Yeah, I mean I didn't realize it's been that. Like, how long has it been since WWE? The concerning part is that Ronda has like spoken openly about concussions and brain injury, and so like you just never want somebody with that to fight. The thing that I think is deeply funny to me is Ronda has been like, whoever she was on. Was it Bert Kreischer or whoever the hell she was talking with, that she was just like, they'll have to pay me $1 billion to come back to MMA. And like, okay, if she get back to MMA, she could actually beat people. She can't beat Katie Taylor. Like I would have a better chance of beating Katie Taylor than Ronda would. And I don't have any chance of beating Katie Taylor in a boxing match. So it's just like, they're not paying her $1 billion. So I don't know why shit that would be like. If she needs the money or wants the money, the UFC will pay her a bundle to come fight somebody, and she could probably
fight Gina Carano, dude. Just have an MMA fight with her.
Well, that might be tougher. I'm sure she's still under UFC contract, so that would be tougher to pull off.
I mean, do it for the UFC. Like that's way better.
Maybe the UFC would do that. I don't know, but like, yeah, like you could negotiate a fight that's not Amanda or Kayla or whatever in the UFC. Like you could fight Miesha Tate again in the UFC and get paid a good chunk of money and not get brain injured.
Go fight Juliana Pena. She's not going to hurt you.
It's also true. But like, I mostly think this just is a nonsense thing. But what if it happens? Man, that'd be great for us. We get mini clicks.
Yeah. I mean, Lance Pugmire, I believe, first reported this, and he's actually in Thailand he was in Thailand for the WBC thing. And he has gotten things wrong before. So and even like when Katie was kind of asked about it, she was like, yeah, I saw the reports. Like, I would love to do that. And of course she would. Why wouldn't you? I mean, that is like the definition of prize fighting. You get the biggest bag, and she is kind of whoop Ronda Rousey if that fight actually happens. And like, this is a legit fight. So yeah, pretty wild stuff. We'll see how it plays out. Chef Nerdbon, if Paddy did a told you so like Dana did at 300, would you be caught on a mic saying he wouldn't fight for a title? Reminds me of all the people saying Sean would never fight for one.
Oh, probably. I'm usually like pretty open to guys fighting for a belt when they're famous, because the road is just so short. Like if you're popular, it's not that hard to get a title fight. But like, I will not remotely pretend to have believed in Paddy Pimblett as he rose up, right? Like I'm certain that there is stuff on mic of me being like, Ilia Topuria would slaughter him back when they were beefing and Ilia wasn't Ilia. I've been incredibly critical of Paddy Pimblett's potential in the UFC since coming over. Only recently. And like, even sometimes I think that maybe I'm being an idiot for backing off that stance, because like he has beaten just a litany of old dudes, right? Like just, he's not getting the best wins. They're fine wins, and he's looking good, which is all you can ask. But he has sort of been elevated beyond. He hasn't had to go through a murderer's row to get to where he's at, right?
Not even close.
But at the same time, like I've in the last few months, I've come out and been like, hand up, man. Like he's getting better every time out. He's improving. He's a legitimate, top 15-ish, top 20-ish lightweight. So you could find some very disparaging remarks from me about Paddy Pimblett. Maybe even saying he'll never fight for a belt. I don't know. But it's definitely possible that I said that.
Oh, I know I did. But and you're right. And even along the way, I was like, they're not going to give him Benoit Saint-Denis. They're not going to give him Grant Dawson. They're not going to give him guys like that, because why would they do that? Because he probably loses to most of those guys. I think Jalen Turner at one point was on that list. But now, but it just turned out perfectly for him. Like the Jared Gordon fight, he lost the Jared Gordon fight, is one of the worst decisions in the history of the sport. Not the worst, but one of the worst. So, and the way he handled that was just really, really poor. But the thing about Paddy, on top of like his performances just getting better, is he's becoming more likable overall. Like he's still kind of like talking some trash, but he is like, it seems like he's more accountable for past performances and things of that nature. He's still being like a seller, but he's doing it in a more, I guess, humble way. Like he's a little more respectful of the opposition, more so than ever before. And, it's not like fake beef anymore. I kind of like what I'm seeing from him personality wise as well, but you're 100% right. Like he is certainly not fighting the guys that Armin had fought. You know what I mean? Like he's not, even if he gave like a win over Dan Hooker would age so well in all of this, when it's very obvious and very clear what has happened. But at the same token, like, again, if you're Paddy Pimblett, are you just going to say, no, I haven't beat a top 5 guy. I agree with Dustin Poirier. I should get another win before I fight for a title. Of course not. You take it and you run. So do it.
And like, on your point, we don't talk about this enough, certainly. It's not just that you get better as a fighter, you just become an adult. I think Paddy Pimblett has matured. When he joined UFC, he was 26 and he was super famous, and that goes to people's heads, and you can be kind of an ass, and you can say stuff like his response to Jared Gordon win, right? Like he's an adult. He's 30 years old. Like I was a huge piece of shit when I was 26. I'm still kind of one, but like you get older, you get wiser. And he's consistently gotten better. So I don't think it's outrageous for him to fight for the interim belt. I think it's outrageous for either man to fight for it over Armin, but it is what it is at this point.
Yeah. I'm still holding out hope that Armin gets his crack. That Ilya is just like, look, I got through all the personal stuff. I want to fight in April. And like Paddy and Gaethje aren't ready. And there's no world that exists right now where the UFC says no to Ilya Topuria fighting anytime he wants. There's just no world. There just isn't. So if he wants to fight earlier and none of those guys are ready, Arman gets his chance. He might lose the belt.
He's still 28.
20, yeah.
Good. Maybe he
may lose that
fight. I
fight.
can hate him less.
He may lose that fight, but that would
be nice if he matured a little bit. Then I could like him more.
Yeah. Joseph, what do you think of the backlash of Alex Volkanovski versus Diego Lopes 2? Diego went on X and basically told the crybabies to shut up. I mean, that probably sets up a story here, wouldn't you say?
In the history of telling people to cry about it, that's just never. The response is like you're never going to make fans or look good by telling people who are upset to shut the fuck up. Does Diego Lopes want to be a heel? That's a good way to be a heel. He's not going to be a heel. He's just going to turn off potential fans because, like, he's done nothing wrong. No one is claiming that Diego Lopes is doing anything wrong. It is okay to acknowledge the truth of a situation, which is basically like what Volk did. Is like, we didn't think this was happening, but sure, we'll fight him. They're like, that's fine. That's the correct answer. Diego Lopes being like, I didn't think I was going to get it. Am I going to turn down an opportunity? Of course not. Like, you don't have to then be like mad at people for being justifiably angry that you're getting preferential treatment. It is okay to acknowledge your own privilege in life and not be upset that you are privileged. Like, it's not that hard.
Yeah. And obviously this created a lot of backlash and a lot of social media stuff. Obviously, I'm sure people are quite aware of the whole Jason House situation. Jason, I tweeted.
Don't know what you're talking about, Mike.
I tweeted something out about this exact tweet where Diego's like, "Stop crying, do all this stuff." And to me, I took it as, all right, yes, he's sending this message to Lerone Murphy and Aljamain Sterling and Movsar Evloev, but he's also saying it to the fans to, hey, stop crying, all that. And then I quote tweeted, "This is terrible. Whoever's guiding him in this needs to do better." What he should have said was, "Hey, I understand. I didn't think this was happening either, but I'm not going to say no to a title fight." Obviously not saying that, like, this is not the message I would portray to the fighters, but to the fans who are obviously upset about this, this is how you should have approached it. And then I got the quote tweet obviously saw the quote tweet from Jason, and I didn't say anything. That was a real interesting night, by the way.
You're very lucky. He's lucky that I didn't say a goddamn thing.
Yeah, I didn't react. I was trying to figure it out. So I just, like,
you're such a professional.
I put a little tweet like, will I react? Maybe. I'm sure it'll come up at some point.
I was ready to pick that fight for you.
But here's what happened. It's the day after Thanksgiving. And I think it was maybe it was the Saturday. It was the Saturday. I tweeted that on Friday. It was the Saturday where this happened and the quote tweet happened, or Friday night. And then Saturday, I get a text from Jason, and it's just kind of more of the same. And he was basically like, look, no one reached out to me to get my side of things and understand, like, why this fight was made. And truth be told, once the Isaac Dulgarian thing happened, Jason was a little upset with me, and that's a lot of it had to do with, remember when I jumped on the post fight or the preview show the day after. I was like, hey, my bad, Derek Minner wasn't a part of the Iridium crew like Kraus was, and he was under Kraus, but he wasn't part of Iridium. So Jason was a little upset about that, and I got it, which is why I went in there and apologized. But we kind of left it in a way where it's like, hey, no need. I heard what you said. You know, it's all good. So my response was, look, as I said before, if there's an issue, like, let's just talk about it. Like, a lot of times it's miscommunication. So why don't you, like, let's talk on the phone and have this out. Like, anytime anyone's had an issue, we either talked face to face or we did it on the phone. And then we always, like, figured out, like, why were we so mad in the first place? And then the call happened, and I listened to Jason, and he listened to me, and it was very emotional chat at times. And he was fired up about the whole situation where he's like, look, man, like, I get it. I understand why people are pissed. Like, if
then what
I
was
get
he
it,
mad about?
it's like, I get it. But like, you know, Diego's done nothing wrong here and he's getting attacked left and right. Like, and it's frustrating for him and it's frustrating for me. Like, look, and I was like, all right, well, tell me what happened.
That's called being a public figure, bro. I'm sorry.
So I was like, so what
People
happened?
are mean to me online too. You know what I do? Don't fucking think about it because it's the goddamn internet. Who cares?
So I was like, what happened? Why? Like, how did this happen? And he goes, and he says, look, before Noche, we were offered like a bunch of different names. We said yes to this guy. We said yes to this guy. We said yes to this guy. And apparently no one was saying yes to John Silva. John was being offered to a lot of these guys. Everyone said no. Diego said, cool, I'll fight him. And basically they were told like, hey, I know you just lost to Volk, but like the quickest way to get back in the mix is to fight John and have a good performance. Now, this is not them saying, hey, if you win this, you're getting a title fight. This is them saying like, you want to be like in the conversation. This is how you do it. So they were like, bet, this is what we'll do. And then Diego went out there and had a fight of the year contender against John and finished him in a sick ass fight. And Diego looked like a frigging superstar that day. Like his entrance felt big. The performance was crazy. The fight was wild. Now, if you're witnessing this, your first like was, and we all kind of agreed with this on the post-fight show, like, man, like I don't want to see him fight Volk right now, but if like Volk somehow loses the belt, like he's getting a title shot. And you know what? If he gets one more win against anybody, he might just get the Volk fight again. And we were like totally okay with that. And then, you know, they basically told him after the fight, like, was like, wow, that went way better than we thought. Like, you guys are in the mix. And the whole time they're not thinking they're actually going to get the title fight. They're not thinking they're going to get it. And then they got a call like, hey, you got it. And then what are they supposed to say? Like, ooh, I don't know, man. Lerone just knocked out Aaron Pico and Movzar hasn't lost in a while. I should sit back and wait for those guys to get their crack. And obviously they're like, sure, we'll take the fight. And it's clear that it's not the most meritocratic way to go about it. And they know that. Like, they're fully aware of this. And they understand the backlash and the outcry of the people saying like, this is ridiculous. But they're also not going to turn on a title fight. So like, I get it. Like, I get why people were so fired up about this. I get why he was so fired up about things that I was saying too. Like, I get it. Maybe not the best way to go about it. That's why I didn't respond on social media. Like, I don't want to do the social media back and forth. It's silly. I'm 42 years old. Like, I got better things to do. But I'm glad we had this conversation. He was glad we had this conversation. And I'm like, let's just do that. Like, we laid our cards on the table. Just because we don't agree with each other doesn't mean like there's beef. Like, he understands everything that I'm saying and he somewhat agrees with it. And I get what he's saying. Like, I get his side. And that's why I was like, let's just have a conversation, put all the cards on the table, because texting and social media, things are lost in translation. Things are lost in the shuffle. I have a feeling we're both mad about things that like are just being oversaturated. So there you go. That's the side of it. Jason and I are cool now. We talked it out. I don't think Diego should be getting a title fight. So my stance is not going to change on that whatsoever. And he knows that.
5 worst ever given.
Yeah. But yeah, but, and I'm with you. I didn't like the way that message was like, fans stop crying. But apparently in reality, this was like not meant to be that way. It was more towards Lerone.
It seemed like it's supposed to be that, but like, yeah, like be better communicating. Or, and people don't do this enough, just don't say anything. You don't have to tweet. You don't have to post. You can simply not, and that's fine too. But if you do, like if you willingly engage in it, take your medicine when it comes back at you, man. Like, it's just very silly to me. Some people, because the internet is filled with people and people will be stupid at times, are going to be upset at you for taking this fight. Most people, and even those people, if they were like being logical for a moment, be like, yeah, obviously you take the fight. You've done nothing wrong. You just accept, like, it's okay to acknowledge that you are in a privileged position for one reason or another. And that doesn't invalidate what you've done or accomplished or how you have helped get yourself to where you are. but you don't always have to be upset because somebody on the internet was mean to you. I promise you, life exists outside of the internet.
Yeah. But I'm glad I went down the way it did. It was bugging me like all day.
You're so professional.
Even my like trying to do like a family day and stuff, and like my wife could see like something was on my mind, and she was like, "You're not all here. What's going on?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm fine." And then like I went out and like talked to Jason on the phone. I was like, "All right, I'm going to take care of this." And I came back in and talked to my wife. She goes, "Oh, so that's what was bothering you?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she was like, "All right, I'm glad you guys like talked it out and you're all good now." So, and so am I, honestly. So am I. And people could feel however they feel about me or Jason. That's fine. But I'm glad because he didn't have to call me. We didn't have to do that. He could have just said like, "F you." Like, I get your take. Like, we're regardless. And then, you know, he
was mad at the wrong take though, too. Like, that was the thing. Like, his response was bad.
Yeah.
Like, that bothered me almost as much. Like, his response was as if you were saying he was a bad manager.
No, it was
not what was said.
Yeah, and that was the thing.
So like
that was the thing. I'm like, I'm not. He was just like, we manage him. I'm like, I'm not saying I don't know that. What I'm saying is this social media post comes off as, hey fans, stop complaining. This is what's happening. Like,
so silly.
Eat it. Just eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You have to eat it. Like, we're just gonna slingshot it down your throat. And it's not what happened. Like, that's not what I meant. I meant like, you know, most of the time when like fighters tweet things like this, and it's not even always the manager. Sometimes it's like a teammate or a coach. It's just like, hey, you know what you should do? You should tweet this. And Diego's like learning English and getting better.
He speaks better English than I speak Spanish or Portuguese.
Yeah. But like, you know, it's not his first language. So and then it was
third, kind of actually.
And then it was I was like, the perception is this is him calling the fans this. Like, he's saying the fans are crybabies.
Just tweet at Lerone Murphy and it would have solved all these problems. Like, if you
that's
just
100%
did it
true.
at Lerone Murphy, it'd be like, okay, that's fine. Talk shit about fighters. That's still kind of silly, but talk shit about them. Fuck it.
But at the end of the day, like, I'm very happy it all went down that way. But he knows I don't agree with this title fight. But I also understand that you can't turn it down. And that Diego's not in the wrong. Nobody's in the wrong here. This is, if you want to be mad at somebody, and that was like the big thing, the big takeaway is like, if you want to be mad at somebody, be mad at the UFC and the matchmakers. Don't be mad at the fighter. It's not Diego's fault that he's getting a title. I mean, it's not, you don't blame Diego that he was offered a title fight and he said yes. That is not his problem. I think
before 325, I'm going to do a list of the worst title shots ever given. Because like, this has got to be top 5. It's up there.
I just wish, and here's, and I guess like the last thing I'll say about this from a devil's advocate perspective, this to me is so risky for Diego. Because if he loses 2 title fights to the same guy in 10 months, like like, I don't care how popular you are in a hole that you are going to have to dig yourself out of for a while. Even as popular as he is. And like, look, he could still be very successful and make money and headline events in front of crowds.
They go to Mexico once or twice a year. He can always do that.
Yeah, he can still, that is a great place to be. You could be very successful doing that. Dustin Poirier did headline lots of events and, he got undisputed title shots, but still, like, even though he never won the undisputed belt, he had a very successful career because he's very popular. At the same token, like, this is such a risk for Diego, man. Such a risk. So, and that's why I'm somewhat intrigued by it. Because I want to see how obviously see how Volk looks. It seems to me like the UFC is like, yeah, this guy's leaving us. So like, we could leave the belt in Diego's hands and he's very popular. If I'm the UFC, that's how I sort of view it. If you're looking at this from a business perspective, even though meritocratically it makes no sense. I want to see what Volk looks like, man. And I want to see if he retires after this fight. Like, I have a lot of questions about this. Again, I'm not defending this fight, but this is what we're getting. So rather than be like super pissed off about it, because nothing's going to change. In fact, Dana will just triple down on it. And then I'm also curious, like, if Diego wins the belt and Volk doesn't retire, like, are we just getting this fight again? Like, if they're just going to do it a third time?
Nah, I mean, if Diego wins, yes, but Volk probably retires. I think Volk retires anyway. I think this is his last fight.
Yeah.
That's my sense, is that Volk is just this is his exit, and instead of using his exit on a Movsar who might beat him, like if Volk retires on top, that's a fun moment, and if he loses to Lopez and retires, at least they've got the belt on somebody they like. Whereas like they don't care, they obviously hate Movsar. They've never really like loved Aljo, though they don't hate Aljo. And Lerone Murphy had like the one moment, but prior to that, nobody was talking about Lerone Murphy. So like, it's just the safest option of maybe he loses in his last fight, and then they can go about ordinary business when this shakes out.
If they weren't going Movsar or Murphy, I thought they were going to go Aljo.
I think Aljo would make substantially more sense, even though that would also not be like the most deserved title fight of all time. It'd make more sense than this one, but
it is what it is.
Tis what tis.
Yes. Jonah Far out. Any big personal plans for the big break? Yeah, we're gonna have quite a bit of time, which I love, by the way. Like I always say, like, we can't miss you if you don't leave. And boy, can you imagine? Like, and we're not getting like a shitty Apex card to kick off the year like we normally get. We're getting.
I do like that.
We're getting, and like, feel how you may feel about interim belts and stuff like that. 324, as far as like fight by fight. It is sick. Like, that is a great card. That is a loaded ass fight card with some great high stakes matchups. And after like a 6-week break, we're going to come back to that, to back numbered events. Like, I don't know like how the excitement will be for Volk and Lopez as the card currently stands. And I'm sure they'll add some other things, but like, we're going to be so fired up for this, dude. Like, I'm very excited, but obviously in between that, there's gonna be a lot of time. So do you have any plans from UFC Vegas 112 to UFC 324? Anything kind of meshed in there?
Well, we will have the Joshua Paul event after that, because that's the week after Vegas. So it's one less week, because we will be doing that. We're gonna do a digital watch party and cover that. So that'll be happening. Then there'll be just the normal holiday plans. I think, Mike, because enough people have been asking about it. And it's just not a thing that can really do currently, for obvious reasons. I think when that big extended break, I'm going to try and get at least one damn they were good, because Dustin Poirier deserves the damn they were good. But maybe try and bank a bunch of them, because we'll finally just have some time to maybe make that work, which is hard to do as our crew has gotten smaller and the event pace has not slowed down whatsoever. So at the minimum, over the Christmas break, I intend to get a damn about Dustin Poirier done, because of all the fighters who've ever deserved a damn, he is right at the top of the list with, Robbie Lawler and Carlos Condit, so for sure that, and maybe pick up a couple of other projects. I don't know. We'll have some time to do some fun stuff, which I'm excited about. Trying to figure out what I'm going to do for the Christmas project this year, which I'm running out of time to start working on. So gonna have to work that out, but yeah, that's it. And then, family time.
Yeah. I'm actually
watching Georgia win the national championship by beating Ohio State. Screw you, Damon.
You said Notre Dame wrong.
Notre Dame, the Paddy Pimblett of college football.
Hey, they made it to they beat Georgia last year. They at least beat a top team to get there last year. They weren't just given a national championship opportunity. They had to earn it.
But this year they're the Paddy Pimblett. They should not make the playoffs. Like, it's ludicrous that they're going to be in the playoffs, because they've beaten no one.
Hey, that Syracuse team is real good that they dropped 70.
Literally on our group chat yesterday, one of my friends was like, I'm sorry, why is Notre Dame a top 10 program? I was like, well, all those arguments that people like insiders are making about Texas, like, you gotta, like, if you don't let Texas in the playoffs, then no one's ever going to schedule hard games again, which I think are stupid. Texas should make the playoffs, even though that'd be great for us because we own Texas. It'd be terrific to have them in. At the same time, Notre Dame is the opposite end of that, where they haven't played anybody, and so they just get to be in the playoffs.
Yeah,
they're super famous, and they fought nobody. They're Paddy Pimblett.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the break. I think it's gonna be great. Yeah, we'll have some fun with the Jake Paul, the Joshua experience. Jose will be boots on the ground. Jed and I will do the the virtual watch party. We'll have awards. Jen and I will have our final BTL of the year, the promotional airing of grievances. If there's any episode of BTL that I get the most backlash about, it is certainly that one. Because we tell it like it is on this show and all of our other shows.
Notre Dame did beat USC. Okay, that's at least a win. But the losing to A&M and Miami is tough, especially when Miami is ranked beneath them.
And then we'll have another fantasy draft to look forward to, right?
We do.
A promotional draft. Are we doing a promotional draft too?
We probably will, but that might fall by the wayside. We'll see.
I think fantasy is way more over.
Well, fantasy is way more over, and it's just better, and there aren't promotions anymore. Though they do different things, and so I'm interested in doing them both. But yeah, man, it's a big weekend for fantasy.
Yes,
the fantasy leagues. I think there's only like a couple of things left. Thank goodness Waldo Cortez Acosta did not get his wish.
It's not over yet. Don't get too excited about that.
I've got 2 people this weekend. Damon's got 2 people this weekend. You have Petr Yan this weekend. AK has Josh Fan. Guy has Pantoja. So there's only Guy has Kopp and you have Robertson, and I have Charrier for the final card of the year. But let's go Bogdan Guskov and Brandon Moreno, baby.
It's going to be a good time. I'm actually driving to Massachusetts on Sunday. We're going to do the watch party, get no sleep. I'm going to do on to the next one. I'm going to work till 1, and then I'm going to drive to Massachusetts, and I'm going to be there for the next 2 weeks. And then I'll drive back after the 21st. Celebrate Christmas, and then we'll be back in the saddle. A couple more, we'll get out of here. Do you think AI will affect your job soon? Super chat.
I mean, it already has in general.
To some degree, yeah.
Yes. I don't want to dive too deep into it. Almost certainly. And that's unfortunate. AI is also just going to affect everyone because, I don't know, it's probably not ideal that like half our GDP is tied up into AI speculations, but maybe I'm wrong. I'd prefer the economy didn't crash because we were hoping on some white knight savior that AI will actually solve all the world's problems.
What do you do? Do we have to ban Simon Feck because he's like threatening to cut my brake lines? I think that's a banning.
Ooh, we're gonna, hey buddy,
peace out.
We're gonna give you a good one.
Yeah.
I'm pretty lenient with a lot of things. That one is not ideal.
Yeah. Especially with like the family in the car with me, you piece of shit. So
yeah, that's pretty rude.
You're out of here.
I hope Bogdan shows up to the weigh-ins with a white handprint on his head. That would frankly be sick. I want Bogdan to win because Jan's old and Jan was great, but like you're almost 43, man. Just go do something else. And Bogdan's fun. Like we need fun people at light heavyweight.
He is fun. He's got stories to tell.
What else we got? Anything else?
I think he met because it's snowing. Well, I hope so. Say that.
Well, yeah.
Say that.
Well, he didn't get banned permanently, so
yeah, he's just in the.
I can only do a 24-hour ban. So
well,
be better next time.
If that's the case, just clarify. We just had a whole conversation about text and not telling the whole story. So I thought I put out a valuable lesson. I really wanted my Rebellis Q answer. What was it?
I say, what's the Rebellis Q? Is it about him fighting Sam Alvey this weekend? Or Friday?
Tomorrow.
That's tomorrow. Friday is tomorrow, isn't
tomorrow,
it? You're right. Yeah.
I'm
not in the brightest mind state now.
I want Karate Combat to like do well. And for a hot minute.
Buddy, if we're doing a promotional draft, they're in it.
All right.
They kind of have to be. There's nobody else.
Yeah, how are we gonna do it? So it'd be UFC, PFL,
BKFC is the other
certainly,
standout, and then it's probably Karate Combat,
Dirty Boxing.
I say it's Karate Combat or it's Dirty Boxing, or if we want to get spicy,
we're about to go RAF, man.
That's what I was saying. RAF if we're just trying to have some real fun.
RAF, RAF is way more over than Karate Combat is right now.
Is RAF's entire business model hope the UFC buys us? Because it seems like that's the business model.
It does kind of seem like that's what they're trying
We're just going to
do.
employ UFC fighters to wrestle, and then hopefully Dana White's like, instead of making UFC wrestling, we'll just buy RAF.
It's not a bad idea.
It's not the worst business model I've ever heard.
It'd be more popular than UFC BJJ right now. Right?
I mean, their issue is that they've done like 3 events and it's super sporadic, which is ironic because currently, like, as we're doing this talk, they're having the Muhammad Ali Act like meeting in Congress. And one of the things they're doing, like one of the arguments I saw on the timeline is like, this will help boxing because we intend to have like a regimented series of events instead of like sporadically, here's a fight card, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, where's the regimented series of UFC BJJ stuff? What are we doing, man?
Yeah, this is a tweet from Luke Thomas because obviously there's
Luke is following the whole thing. It's terrific.
Muhammad Ali's last wife, Lonnie Ali, speaks. Boxing has suffered a steady decline in both popularity and integrity. HBO, Showtime, and ESPN dropped boxing programming, she notes. She says HR 4624 reinforces Muhammad's life's work.
I don't think that's true, but okay.
Yeah, it is. What a time. Michael, you'll be subscribing to UFC's Ignite meal plan in January. CrossFit beckons for UFC food. No.
Is that a thing?
Yeah. They did, I guess they did like some sort of media thing after media day yesterday. And they broke news that they're like, the UFC is actually doing like their own like meal plan, like Factor. But it's like the UFC Ignite meal plan.
Mike Sleeto had a comment that Josh Van had a quote about no game plan. What was that?
Yeah.
I wasn't paying attention that much yesterday. I was doing some other things and mostly laying on my couch trying not to die.
Let me see if I can get
but that's, right, I'll talk about Josh Van again.
I'll pull up the quote. I don't have any game plan, to be honest. It's wherever the fight goes. You can make game plans and things like that, but come fight day, it could be a whole different game. You know what I mean? Whatever he brings, I'll be ready. If it wants to strike, we'll strike. If he wants to go to the ground, I'm ready for that. I just don't want to focus on one thing. It's wherever the fight goes. What we see on TV and what happens when we're locked in the cage together is different. I'm the type of guy who likes to adjust to his style, so I'll adjust to whatever he brings that day. I'm knocking him out inside 3 rounds.
That's just not true.
But if you talk to most fighters now, they don't have like specific game plans. They kind of just focus on what they do, and their coaches may like zig and zag to certain tendencies that a fighter presents. But the George St. Pierre fighter who just like was obsessed with their opponent and watched like hours and hours of tape every day before a fight. There are some fighters who are still like that. Don't get me wrong. But for the most part, most fighters are focused on themselves and they just want to focus on what they're doing and kind of let their coaches figure out the best plan for that particular fighter in that particular fight. Right? Yeah.
And there are a couple of things. Like, one, young fighters in general are less prone to be game plan focused. They're young. You're young and you don't think you need things like that. Like, I'll just be me. And, it's worked out largely for Josh Van. 2, if you fight at the frequency with which he's competing, again, he's had like 18 fights in 4 years. You don't do bespoke game plans at that pace. Like, you're showing up and you're fist fighting and you're learning while doing. I think he might win Saturday. It's totally possible. I do think game plans are important. I suspect his team has, at least, like you said, Mike, some ideas about things that they want. And maybe he's just not focused on that. But like, as you get older, the best fighters in the history of the sport have game plans. That's why they're the best fighters in the history of the sport. Like, there are very few fighters just like, just out there vibing and seeing what happens. Like, it's because, it is an edge to have a specific game plan, to have triggered responses for known actions from your opponent That's just the way to do it. And in a sport where, like, people are cutting so much weight because it gives them a 2% edge to just be bigger or whatever that is, like, you get a big edge in game planning. So it's not surprising. And I suspect that it's not even entirely true because someone in his camp has some ideas, but I don't think I would particularly want to go into a fight with Pantoja without having some real ideas about what I want to do, because Pantoja is a freaking handful, man. And if your thought is, if it goes to the ground, we'll grapple, like, okay, Godspeed, buddy.
Honestly, the worst thing I read from that quote, and it's not even like a bad thing, just be confident, is I'm going to knock him out inside of 3 rounds.
He's not going to do that.
Nobody can. Nobody can knock this dude out inside of 3 rounds right now, or inside of 20 rounds. He just cannot. The dude can. If Josh Van knocks out Pantoja, like, the post-fight show is going to be all his. I don't even give a shit what happens in the main event.
I mean, yeah,
it'll be really the Josh
impressive
Van show if he knocks out Vance.
Yeah, he's just not going to do it. He might beat him. Like, he absolutely can win this fight, though I think Pants is going to win on Saturday. But, man, I would like him to have a game plan, because if your plan is like that, I don't have a plan works if you can win in all phases, and I am deeply uncertain that Josh Van can win in all phases of the game. Like, that plan works when you're just way better than everybody you fight. Like, okay, I don't need to have a plan. Yeah, you're just better than everybody. It's fine. Or it works when your plan is so linear. Like, I am Khabib. My plan is always the same plan. But even Khabib had specific plans about how he was going to enact his overall strategy. I just kind of vibe only works if you're better than everybody at everything. And I don't believe that's the case with Pantoja.
I mean, honestly, this is the kind of way I view this fight is, for Van to win, he's got to survive in advance. Because I don't think he survives, but if he does and this fight goes long, then he's got a chance. But I just don't see... I will be very surprised if Van just goes out there and just nukes Pants and just runs him over.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I think Van has, like, if I'm in Van's corner and if I'm Van, and maybe, again, also it's possible that this is a lie and Van does have a game plan. He's just saying stuff because fighters don't want to give away the game plan or whatever.
Right.
That could totally be true as well. But, like, if I'm Van coming into this, the game plan, like, I think the game plan is pretty obvious. I need to be on the front foot because both dudes want to pressure, and whoever is backing up, very simply, whoever is backing up in this fight is losing this fight. Neither fighter is nearly as effective as they are off the back foot. So I have to be the pressuring fighter. That's usually harder when you are also the fighter who doesn't want to engage in grappling, because you have to come forward, and at any point Pants could be like, no, I'll just stand here when you step forward, and now we're hugging. And that's where I would like to be anyway. So I think he needs to win the pressure footwork battle, and I think he needs to work the body. He's got great body shots, but he throws them fairly sparingly. Like, he mostly wants to get his jab and combinations going up top. And I mean, you can score a lot, and he beat the brakes off Brandon Royval for big stretches of that fight by doing that. But, like, Pants is going to keep coming forever. So work his body over and take this fight. Like, if this fight goes long, Pants has that dog in him in a way that very few fighters do. And you need to take that dog out behind the shed and level it with body shots for 5 rounds if you can. So, like, just straight up, like, if I was in Pants' corner, I'd be like, that's our game plan. Our game plan is to win the pressure footwork battle, make sure we're never on the cage, because Pants also, or Van also can get back straight up into the cage, where he's a very effective scrambler. But, like, there's a difference between not getting taken down by Brandon Royval and Pantoja just sort of slithering his way to your back, and then suddenly the round is over and you might be choked out. So, like, stay off the cage, be the guy coming forward, work the body. But like, all of that's not like different than what he does, but it's a focus on what he does tweaked in specific ways, because the rest of his game is, be yourself, throw in super high volume, like, work at an incredible rate. When he gets in contact with you, create a scramble, down block, move away, like, all those things are happening. But, like, he should have specific ideas on how he wants to effectuate his like strategies. And if he doesn't, that is a little concerning, but not unsurprising. He's young.
Couple more. Mike and Jed, what do you think about Cody Garbrandt as the next opponent for Alexandre Topuria? Perfect. That was my
honestly,
my wild
never
card
thought
pick
about that. That's a really good pick. Oh, was
Yep.
that your wild card pick? That's a great
Yeah.
call out. Great shout.
Lazy, but thank you. No Q. Just thanks to you both for being cool dudes.
Thanks, Lazy.
You're the man.
You are the man.
The most important base in MMA is endurance.
No, but it's not a wrong call. The adage that fatigue makes cowards of us all is very true. And Merab Dvalishvili has basically taken that to the nth degree of extension. Just like, I can do this forever. Luke Thomas put this really well. He said it a couple times, but like, he said it in a way that I think we all sort of implicitly understand, but I'd never it's just very clear of like, it's such an enormous advantage to not have to regulate your output, to simply just be able to sprint forever, like to do as much as you want, as long as you want, is an enormous advantage that Merab has over everybody. And basically nobody else in the sport, fluffy, or like gets to employ. So yeah, it's a great base. Being an incredible cardio monster will get you very far in the sport.
And what Pantoja does. We're just like, I could take so many more risks than other people because I can take literally a baseball bat to the face.
Yeah, I actually believe durability is the most important base in MMA.
Yeah.
Certainly the higher weight classes you go, that's doubly true. But like, there are a number of fighters historically who would have been like the best fighter ever if they could just get punched in the mouth. Like, Brock Lesnar might still be UFC heavyweight champion if he liked getting hit in the face, but he super did not. And that he was deeply not durable. And that was like a big problem. Durability is, you can have a successful MMA career with like mediocre cardio or whatever. It's a non-starter to compete in MMA if you don't at least have a baseline level of durability.
Sorry if this is something you'll cover soon. Any sleeper fights of the year that aren't being talked about enough?
It's a weird year. I don't know what fights have been talked about a lot. Like
the Sadikov fight, 100%.
I'm trying to think. Like, I feel like nobody really talks about Holloway Poirier too, because that fight was really fun, but mostly people talk about like the retirement and the BMF. It has been a weird year where there's not like a clear front runner to me for fight of the year. There's I think they're all in the same sort of band of like, pick your flavor. Like, there's no Yuri Glover, right? Where it's just like, yeah, that's the fight of the year.
Yeah. I mean, I think the correct answer is probably Usman Hughes 1.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great fight.
I mean, that like, when we talk, mostly because it didn't happen in the UFC, so it automatically is going to get docked points by most people because it wasn't in the UFC. But that's going to be probably like the low key fight of the year that probably won't actually win. I think Royval Van is. I think it's Royval Van, Bilal JDM, Merab Umar.
Royval Van because we're doing this fight now.
Yeah. I mean, that fight, if I could go back and rewatch one fight this year, it's probably that one.
It's definitely Holland Rodriguez for me.
Oh, that's on the list.
Honestly, that's really close to being my fight of the year because it's so funny.
Merab Umar's really good.
The Lunetti Vologden contender series fight.
That's a great fight.
Is like, it's weird. There's not this is the most open I can remember fight of the year being. Like, there's not a clear front runner to me for fight of the year this year.
Yeah, there's a lot. Like, it's gonna be a fun year to go back and rewatch. Like,
maybe we'll get it this weekend. That's the thing. Like, if you put on a really good fight in these last two events, recency bias could carry you to a fight of the year. Like, if if Gaethje Pimblett, it's Justin Gaethje. When Justin Gaethje fights somebody, just assume that it's the fight of the year, because more often than not, that's the case. Like, he said 4 fight of the years in his 8 UFC years or whatever. Like, and finished runner up at least once, maybe twice. Like, so maybe it's just Gaethje Pimblett. I could absolutely see that being fight of the year, frankly.
Evelyn Von Stina said everything. The fight was not.
That's my submission of the year.
Yeah, that is sub of the year.
Yeah, it's submission of the year. I don't think it's fight of the year. That fight
It was
wasn't that
very, it was a
compelling.
very Johnny Eblen fight for 2.5 rounds. And then like Von Cena started getting going and things got a little interesting. And then the finish happening at the end was just insane. But like it was definitely dramatic, but I don't think that's like a fight of the year contender for me.
I like this
both
question.
Of Yuri's fights, both of Yuri's fights are in the top 10.
It's also Yuri. It's just like pick a Yuri fight. It's probably in there. I'm glad about this question because I'm on this corner. Gaethje Pimblett's going to be fight of the year. In the dark, that's my pick. Fight of the year. Screw it. Let's do it.
Okay.
I think that fight's going to be really fun, frankly. I think the fight's going to be really fun because Paddy Pimblett has his head just on a platter, but he's actually very durable in general, and he can grapple, and Gaethje can't all that well. So, like, I think that fight's going to be really fun. That's my fight of the year pick.
God, there were a lot of really good fights this year.
I'm saying this now so we can clip it after the event, and I can look like a genius.
Okay. Well, that's his pick. You can't. That's it.
Fight of
that's
the year is
one.
Gaethje Pimblett in the dark.
All right. Hey, look, we might maybe we have a new segment for 2026. We predict what will be award winners for at the end of the next year.
That's it. Right there. Boom.
I love this. Love this very much. All right. We're gonna get out of here because I'm about to interview Anderson Silva.
Oh, you need to do that.
So I gotta roll. That's why I had to roll.
Do you think Josh Van thinks he's the middleweight GOAT, or does he think that it's Israel Adesanya?
Oh, great question.
He's definitely never watched Anderson fight, so
he might think it's Dricus du Plessis.
He wouldn't be wrong. My GOAT. That's my GOAT right there. All right. It's time to get out of here because Mike has to do stuff and I need to go lay down.
Yes.
I finished my tea an hour ago and my throat is killing me. So
yes.
I've got the kettle on. I'm going to go pour another tea and lay down for a bit.
We'll have a preview show tomorrow. I believe it's at 3 p.m. Eastern. So join us for that.
Tomorrow's a busy day.
Thank you all very much. UFC 323. It's a damn good card. Get excited. Stick with us at MMAfighting.com. For Jed, I'm Mike Hack. Back next week to recap it all. Good night, everybody.
Love y'all.